We got so much more to talk about too. I'll try to get to this soon.
Good morning. And welcome to Sarah Stevens Tuesday Forum. My name is Laura McClady. I am one of your facilitators, as well as Mary Johnson and Winston Robinson, Paulina Ivory, Jackie Edwards Walton, and we have our timekeeper, who is Natalie McElroy. And for you all that are familiar with the Tuesday Forum, we do things orderly as we possibly can. But we ask you all to give all of us respect, and respect each other, but please respect her. She's our timekeeper, and when she does show her sign for you to stop and allow us to ask questions or what have you, please acknowledge that. Another thing is that we never know who's going to show up. You know, we send out invitations to numerous people in our community, and people do come in at different times, respectfully, and they do leave respectfully. So, and we like to facilitate the question and answers sessions. We also ask everyone that's here, and we may have to start tapping someone on the shoulders when they come in, to silence your phone. You need to do that. Silence your phone, and so we won't be interrupted. We have several speakers here today, and we are so happy to have you with us. And we know that once we send the information out, which is normally on Sunday night, as I said, we don't know who's going to show up. But when we're talking about food and food services, and the need for us to understand, we think that people will be coming in, so we expect people to be coming in. And of course, everyone is aware of the fact that we do live streaming as well as Facebook Live. So you're on the air, so give it your best. And we also have Thomas Moore, who you all heard the wonderful music, the piano. He plays it. And we don't know what we would do without Steve Johnston, who is the person that is responsible for sending. He's not responsible because he doesn't have to do it, but he does, because his love for Sarah Stevens Tuesday Forum. He sends out the information about our speakers, as well as he does the live streaming and the Facebook Live for the Tuesday Forum. Not with us right now is Paulina Ivory Canty, who's also one of the people that we work with. And more importantly, we have a person that's part of our team that brings us a prayer every Tuesday morning, who is Sarita Sheriff. So we'd like to start off with Sarita. Sarita, would you lead us in a word of prayer?
Good morning, everyone.
Good morning.
Bow your heads as we pray together. Dear Heavenly Father, we're thankful that you made today. We're thankful that we're in your day. We're just thankful, God. We're glad that we're here together, focused together, working together for your sake and for our neighbor's sake. Father, remember the task force members. Bless their families. Remember this, our day. And remember the children in the Holy Land, especially. Help the families there. Let them know that you are their God too. Father, bless this nation. Bless our leaders. Bless this state. Bless our county. Bless our city and our homes. Bless our children and our neighborhoods. It's your Son, Jesus' name, that we pray every day. Let us all say together,
Amen. Amen. Thank you so much. I don't remember saying Mary Johnson's name, but if I did forget, I did, okay. And I do take credit.
Any first timers?
Oh yes, are there any first timers here this morning? Except for our speakers. We're going to get you. Give us your name and affiliation.
Good morning, everyone. My name is Gail Johnson, and I'm just here to get some valuable information that I probably could pass on to some.
Thank you, welcome, and we invite you to come back. We meet almost every Tuesday morning throughout the year, and we are proud. The team that's here is the ones that's been carrying this for over 40 years, and we invite you all to come back as well to visit with us. We have a treat for you this morning, fresh food options. We have Dr. Kimberly Scott of Mecklenburg, Assistant Health Director. Mr. Tanya Adams, all of us here know Tanya Adams. She's been busy with our Historic West Side. And we also have Tony Estridge Hoskins, Carolina Farm Trust, Janico Jackson West, Janico Jackson of West Boulevard Neighborhood Coalition, and three sisters, and there may be others whose names I did not call, but we will give you an opportunity to open up with just giving us information, giving us your name, and at least 3 minutes. And this is the way you have to do the mic. Steve just reminded me, we like to speak into the mic. But if you will, you have 3 minutes, okay, 3 minutes to just give an opening introduction on who you are and who you're representing, and an idea of what it is that you will be sharing with us this morning. Okay, so we'll start, and we ask you to hold a mic like this, and we ask you to just share the 2 mics that are up here. So, and be aware people will be coming in and out. Okay, so thank you. We'll get started.
Good morning.
Good morning.
Is the green light on?
To your right.
Oh, got the green light. There it is. Okay.
Good morning. That's better. There you go. All right. My name is Janico Jackson. I am the general manager of Three Sisters Market. I am one of the initiatives of West Boulevard Neighborhood Coalition. So we're doing a food cooperative market on West Boulevard in Clanton. I was hired in November of last year to help bring this initiative forward. I've been in grocery for 25 years, lots of conventional grocery, stepped into the co-op sector about 7 years ago, and continued on because of the work that it does for the communities. Communities such as West Boulevard that suffers from food apartheid, systematic things that happen. I'm not too far into that, but we are one of the solutions that are coming to West Boulevard, and that's why I'm here today. Thank you.
Good morning, I'm Tanya Adams, Executive Director of the Historic West End Partners, also founder, and our primary mission is economic development and cultural development to preserve and to also grow the Historic West End. The purpose for which I'm here today is concerning the food cooperative. West End, as we're now known, originally based Fort West Trade area, had a grocery store almost 5 decades ago, and the community has wanted it improved prior to it going away by their consent or their demand, because it was selling tainted meat and expired box products, and they said we'll have nothing before we consume that. And since then, there has been no store in that area. So we are in the process of giving the community what they desire and deserve, which is 50 years almost overdue. And it will be a food cooperative market, community and employee owned, and it will pair with the likes of Whole Foods.
Good morning. My name is Tony Estridge. I am the operations manager with Carolina Farm Trust. We're also in the historic Hoskins community. So we recently opened up our distribution center, which is consisting of a hub for fresh produce. So we're into regenerative farming. We go to different farms throughout the counties. We want to make sure that we are the bridge to get fresh produce to not only senior citizens, but just everyone in the community. We're also open to partnerships, of course. That's my main job is partnerships, going across and just making sure that we're on the same mission. So we have a lot of involvement going on. We are going to open up a market as well in that area. That's going to be in 2025 for the market that we have. But most importantly, we want to teach people in the community like how to cook. We have a 3,000 square foot commercial kitchen, but we can teach people in the neighborhood who have an interest in the culinary arts. Also, we want to get into the position where people who are on SNAP or have assistance, they can, come in, get their food, and we can prep it for them. But the most important thing is we also strive on food as medicine. So we want to talk about all of those logistical factors when it comes down to fresh produce. But thank you for having me here today. So I'm excited.
Good morning, my name is Rodney Faulkner. I'm the co-founder of Boundary Street Advisors. We're a full-service commercial real estate firm here in Charlotte. William Haggett is my business partner. And I'm here representing Spangler's Market. We're building a 8,000 square foot full-service grocery store at the corner of Kohler and Statesville Avenue in the Druid Hills community. We've been working on that for about 7 years, and it's kind of finally come to fruition with good partnerships with the county and a couple of the private groups that have helped us get to this place. But we're super excited about bringing that to the corridor. I know Dream Key was trying to work on it about 10, 12 years ago. We picked the mantle up and kind of championed that opportunity for them, and so we expect to be open next November, December timeframe.
Good morning, everyone. My name is Kimberly Scott, and I'm the Assistant Health Director for Population Health at Mecklenburg County Public Health. And our team does significant work in the food security space because food security and food access is a public health issue. We know if people don't have access to healthy, affordable food options, it can increase risk for chronic diseases and other conditions. So we have a small but mighty team that works to improve systems so that people can have access to fresh produce, fresh food resources to support them in their journeys to health. We have a significant portfolio of work. We are really dedicated to making sure that we have real-time data to understand what's happening in community, because we know there are so many shifts happening within community with people being displaced for a variety of reasons. So making sure that we understand what it means to be food insecure within this community to help with future planning. So we have a large portfolio of work in that space, and we work with most of these folks that are on this panel to help execute that vision, because we know that it takes a collaborative to address the food security needs impacting our community. So I'm really excited to be here. I've been in my role about 2.5 years, and there's still much work to be done. So looking forward to today's conversation to focus on some of the solutions that are happening within this space.
Thank you all so very much. And the way we normally do it, for those who know, we do recognize those. We don't have any questions. We haven't had anyone to raise their hand. Oh, Jackie, okay. And we just work together, but while he's going back to her, I'd just like for you all to just share with us how many people that you've serviced so far as it relates to the food and bringing food to our communities. If you all can just elaborate on that a little bit, I'd like to ask that question. We can start at the end with you.
Sure. So we serve the entire county. I can give specifics by programs if there's an area of interest, but a lot of our work, again, focuses on changing policies so that we can expand access to farmers markets, we can expand access to grocery stores and all of those resources. our team provides a good deal of technical support and resources to help make those things an actuality. So although we're not direct service providers, we try to help build the ecosystem of partners within the county to make sure everybody, specifically those who are most underserved and in communities that have historically not been invested in, have opportunities to have access to healthy food resources.
We currently haven't really worked in that space yet, but we have been working on trying to get that need filled. And so I think once we get open, we'll be really kind of reaching a couple corridors, Batesville Road, Statesville, and Graham Street, in that immediate area. But I think that once we get the product out there and people are able to see it, I think we'll have a groundswell of community support. So we're excited about that. So, you know, check back with me in about a year.
Let's see. So we partner up with. Okay. So we partner up with. Oh, like this bit?
People online that can't hear you.
Oh, okay.
It's fine.
This is better? This tone right here? Okay, well, I keep it right here. Okay, so, let's see. In Mecklenburg County right now, we partner up with the Senior Nutrition Program. So the mobile pantries that go around, we're the ones, we're one of the people that provide the fresh produce for the mobile pantry. So that's like between 15 locations. Let's see, we also cover Lincolnton. I say about 600 seniors there, and that's almost like every other week. And then in Iredell County, as well as Union County. So I think the last time I checked our specs, we did about 25,000 pounds, like within a month of produce. So we've been, and we're still growing, so we're still trying to reach the masses.
All right, so we are also in construction and not ready to go yet. However, West Boulevard Neighborhood Coalition there's 19 neighborhoods within the corridor. Our intent is to hopefully reach all of those corridors. We will have a 12,000 square foot full service grocery store. So again, our immediate area is West Boulevard and Clanton, but we'll hopefully reach out and spread throughout the corridor.
The historic West End, or the West Straight Batesville Road corridor, spans 8.8 miles. It has 36 neighborhoods. And all of those folk, of course, we intend to serve. However, we will also serve those who may be passing by, because as you know, in our community, the highway cut through a lot of our neighborhoods. So we have 16, 77, and 85 that all come through. So we're more than glad to, as we've supported other people's economies, going to their grocery stores 10 miles away, we welcome them to, of course, patronize us. Now, currently, we're in the pre-development phases, finishing up land acquisition. And initially, we were just looking at doing just standard, well, not a standard grocery store, but a full-service grocery store. However, that vision has evolved. So now what we're looking at is a mixed-use development, about 6 stories, spanning about 6 parcels in the same area, 5 points, which you know can be quite difficult. So we're looking at a 15,000 square foot store, 12,000 square foot small business incubator, about 275 workforce housing units, attainable housing units, as well as a mobility hub. So we've got a lot of things we're solving for in one complex, and so we're in pre-development right now.
Thank you so much. Many of you answered my question about the square footage. Can you tell us a little bit about yourself personally, and where you grew up, how you got to where you are, in the way of the passion that you have? And can you give us some idea of when the doors will open? The grocery stores.
So the grocery store at this point, because it is as complex. Excuse me. My name, Jatanya Adams, Charlotte native, originally from the Steel Creek area, migrating more towards the inner city. So from Still Creek to Brook Hill to Revolution Park to Beatties Ford Road. That's my path. Born in the 60s, accustomed to having community grocery stores because, of course, I was born right about the time of desegregation, but before that, I was born during segregation, and things changed when I was about 5 when we really started to see a little bit more integration. So we had our own stores, we had our own community, we had our own everything, and we've lost that, and now we realize that we don't need to depend on others to take care of our most basic needs, and food is a basic human need. When do we anticipate a store opening? We're talking for about 27.
My name is Janiqua Jackson. So this is my second time in Charlotte, getting back here in November. However, I was born in Ohio and I was raised in Long Beach, California. I have lived in 7 states. So I've been all over both West Coast, up north in Providence, Rhode Island, and back where my roots are from, down in Alabama, most recently coming from Tuscaloosa, Alabama. But I've been in the grocery industry for 25 years, and things changed for me probably about year 10. Year 10, I was looking for more purpose, more worth, more understanding, more just mature, trying to mature a little bit more. And so within my industry, I wanted to get into management and continue on management, not on the West Coast, but back on the East Coast and down south. So my parents had done a lot of philanthropic work in Selma, Alabama, and I got very, very inspired to be able to work with colored people, my people, from my roots. And so it kind of inspired me to not only work with Black folks, but also work with young women and show them another path on how they can come up, how they can make it out here. It just doesn't have to be doctors, lawyers, and other things like that. The grocery industry can give you the same pleasures as those industries. And so that's when I kind of changed my thought pattern and wanted to mentor and get back to down south, where I felt like there was some inspiration needed. And so changed my thought pattern and went on down south. And then I came here to North Carolina and was working for Harris Teeter for a while. And actually got caught with a headhunter and followed the path there that led me to co-ops and really, really taught me how I can continue to expand my growth and just helping neighborhoods, helping communities that need it. Grocery stores traditionally are known to look at profit and not have a servitude attitude. Well, co-ops are totally different. Co-ops such as Three Sisters Market will service the community. The money will stay in the community. We're building it for the community. The community will have a voice on what happens in that co-op. You cannot say that about any other grocery store. And so that's why I stick with co-ops, and that's why I'm here today to bring that West Boulevard, the community, what they need.
When will you open?
So right now we're in schematic phase. And so there's different variables right now that we're dealing with in construction. We're pushing for groundbreaking by the end of 2025 to open 2026.
Hi, my name again is Tony Eskridge with Carolina Farm Trust. I'm the operations manager with them. I am a Charlotte native as well, born and raised here, actually not far in the, well, they call it NOLA. Back then they didn't call it NOLA, they called it North Charlotte. Everybody knew Plaza and everything was North Charlotte. So, but now things have been broken up. But that's when I grew up. And I actually went to high school at Harding. So I was in the magnet school program and went there, graduated. Then I pursued in Hare, so Southeastern. Then also crossing into business administration. So I had my own business at one time with like concert promotion, just event promotion. And I came across Zach Wyatt, which is our CEO, and he had a position. I actually went out for an executive assistant position, and he was like, after talking with you, no, you don't need to be my EA. You need to be out there in the community. You need to be out there talking to people. So he said, I want to create this position for you. And he created it. And when I got out there in the field talking to people and seeing our mission and what we were doing, it just lit me up because I love helping people. I've always loved helping people. But most importantly, I always wanted to find out what was going to be a good way for us to get fresh foods and vegetables. I've been in different places, markets, where we've seen, you know, food that was all dried out. And it was like they didn't care. They didn't care about what people were getting. It was like, here, this is what's on sale. It's 19 cents a pound. Go ahead and take it, no matter if it's bruised up, whatever. But I'm like, okay, where is this coming from? And I found out that most of these supermarkets that we go to today are getting stuff from other states. But the farmers that we have in North Carolina are suffering. The ones in South Carolina are suffering. They're like, hey, we got all this fresh produce and fruits. Help us push it. And so that's what we were doing. We decided to say, okay, you know what? We want to keep you guys going. We want to keep you guys in business. We want to make sure that people get fresh nutrients. So that's what we're doing, and I love it. I love talking to these farmers. I mean, and as prissy as I am, I will get out there in that dirt. I will get out there in that dirt and just, you know, mess with the soil and everything and learn about, you know, how to harvest produce and things like that. But our market should be open within mid-2025. So we're getting ready to go into that second phase of production. Now we do have a pop-up market that is every Friday from 4 to 7, which is on the property at 511 South Hoskins Road. So we will be outside under a tent. We will have fresh produce, meats, eggs, you name it. You can come out there and purchase, but it will be every Friday from 4 to 7.
Again, my name is Rodney Faulkner. I grew up on Batesford Road, right across the street from Friendship Baptist Church, and so went to Statesboro Road, Ranson, and West Charlotte. So all the corridors that Staples Market would be serviced, and I've lived in or rode my bike up and down those streets, and I've been doing commercial real estate since 18 years now, and so the reason I got into the business was because I wanted to service the neighborhood that raised me, and so I've probably done just on Batesford Road corridor over 50 plus transactions that have been, in my opinion, pretty impactful to help move and evolve the corridor in a positive way. And so for me, it's just a continuation of honoring the neighborhood that raised me and bringing these opportunities that normally wouldn't come to our neighborhood, being in the forefront of that and trying to just persevere and continue to make the neighborhood be better and just normal like other neighborhoods around the city. So again, my purpose is really driven by the neighborhood that raised me. We'll be opening. So we're in for permit. So again, I don't want to say a specific date, but we're trying to target a year from November, so 2025. But again, that's going to be dependent on permitting, weather, all those things. So it could be going into 2026, but our target is around November of 2025.
Again, I'm Kimberly Scott. I am from the big city of Milledgeville, Georgia. If you've ever been there, you know it is all but big. But this work is important to me because I'm a child of a sharecropper. My parents were my mother specifically worked on the fields in a rural community in the summers with her family. So I understand the importance of food access and understand just the inequities that have existed for years, particularly for Black communities within this space. So this work is very personal to me. I landed in the public health space because I lost far too many family members at too young of an age. Some of it because of chronic disease and just access to opportunities to be healthy. So again, this work is very personal in that I have lived experience and want to be sure that I'm a part of the change, which is why I'm very thankful to be in this role where I can be a part of decision making that impacts communities immediately. The town that my mother is from still does not have a grocery store in rural Georgia. It still does not have access to healthy food opportunities unless you drive to the neighboring town. So to be in this position within this space with people who are concerned about change and committed to making change is very important to me and impactful to me. I can still remember the pivotal change for me in the 6th grade. I remember reading an Ebony magazine that said Charlotte was the community for growth opportunities for young Black folks. And I said, when I grow up, I'm gonna move to Charlotte. And I completely forgot about that until, you know, being in this space, having that full circle moment. So again, the work is very personal. I'm grateful to be in a space where people care about change and want to be a part of the solutions. And we are not constructing anything, so I don't have a timeline for a date, but we are supportive of all of these efforts because we know that it takes a village to address the massive need of food security that's impacting our community. So in a variety of capacities, if we're not already supporting these projects, hoping to support the advancement of these initiatives.
Good morning. Hopefully, Dr. Scott, we won't have to bring a class action lawsuit against Ebony because according to Chetty, we still got some work to do here in Charlotte. But I wanted to ask everyone about their business models and how we can ensure this your stores be sustainable in this space and community can rely on them being there. And what support looks like from a county level to ensure that these spaces can be supported and make the revenue that they need to be there for community.
Here we go. Yeah, so one of the things that, you know, me being in the commercial real estate space, I definitely recognize that, you know, looking at the models of grocery stores as a whole, they have very thin margins, right? So, you know, we reached out to probably every grocery store that you can think of in the Southeast, and then really nationally, I called on Trader Joe's, Publix, Ingles, Lidl, all of them, you know, looked at that sub-market and didn't necessarily think that they could make money there. And so we had to really think about, you know, somebody that was going to go and operate a business in this corridor that everybody else said no about. And so we, Williams, really good friends, run a market in Southern California called Spangler's. And so they've been trying to get to the East Coast for, I don't know, the last 5 years. And so it just kind of worked out, and they have a phenomenal model that they use out in California that really they're one of the only grocery stores in this sub-market that they're in now. And so they're tremendous operators. They know how to like pivot when things are not selling. They'll get it off the shelf really quickly, get it back on. So I think you have to definitely make sure you have a good operator, right? And so we were dogmatic about trying to find somebody that was good in that space, and we knew that they were going to be able to pivot if they had, you know, challenges and still be able to be sustainable. So I think for us, we were very intentional about going after an operator. And so these folks, I think I'm super excited about them and can't wait till they get here. Dr. Scott will be meeting them in a couple of weeks, but I think you got to be really intentional about that market because, or not the market, but about the grocery market because it's fickle, right? And so, you know, our building is going to have a 750 square foot rooftop patio, and we want people to come up there and you know, buy prepared foods inside and come and stay, right? And we want to make sure that's part of the community. And so we think that when you have people that are in these places, they tend to spend more money, right? You think about Whole Foods uptown. People are always in there and they keep coming back. And so we want this to be a place that people want to come to and support.
So our co-op structure and our business model is definitely different, so I'll say that. But to Rodney's point, the grocery business is very, very hard to run. So with our business model and the way that we ensure that we have community buy-in is we have membership, and that's what you get. You get ownership to this, so we're teaching equity as well within this business model. But there's a $100 one-time membership fee that you will pay, and that's part of your buy-in as a community. So, when you pay money, you obviously want to continue to support, continue to tell folks about. So that's one of the ways that we get community buy-in is from your economic participation. However, the rest is mostly engagement. One of the things that is very helpful, speaking to Rodney's point as well, with low margins and helping this business thrive, what will make this business thrive is the likes of Ricky Hall, Miss Beverly Clark, Miss Brenda Campbell, Board President Guy Counts is here. West Boulevard Coalition has taken on a lot of the responsibility of this business up front, which has put us in a great position to be able to thrive over the years. And so forward thinking and being innovative in that space to be able to provide for the community and make sure that it stays around. That work was done prior to me even getting here. So making sure that the community pays that $100 fee is probably for us a different model than everybody else, but you get a membership into this grocery store. And so that's part of the model that we have.
Jatanya Adams, again, Historic West End Partners. At the moment, we have not given our market a name because, again, it is to be community owned and employee owned. And so we are now organizing and coalescing the community so that they can make a lot of decisions about the space. This is a food cooperative. It is not your normal grocery store. There are certain elements of a normal grocery store that you will have, but it exceeds that. One is, as my peer said, there's community ownership. So there's a membership model. Do you have to be a member to shop? No, anyone can shop. But if you want to have ownership, buy in, have a voice, have a vote, 1 vote per share, then currently we're looking at about $125 a membership. The membership is one time for a lifetime. If you don't want your membership anymore, you turn it back in, and of course someone else can then pick that up. Also, community ownership, and in the community ownership model, it's a living wage job. They will have benefits. They will also be able to have retirement, and they have a share that is based on the hours that they work, as far as to how much they're able to contribute. I must give credit to the Weaver Street Co-op market, as myself and some of my neighborhood peers on the other corridors looked at the fact that we all were going somewhere else for groceries. And as I remind you, we have upwards of 36 neighborhoods each, and we're going somewhere else to buy our groceries, right? We're traveling and supporting other people's economies. So we got together and looked at various models, and a lot of us came to the conclusion that we wanted a food cooperative. And then we understand the state of North Carolina, the city of Charlotte, and Mecklenburg County, and how you have to navigate a system. And we knew that we had to prove that this would work. Otherwise, we would be discounted immediately, and it would never happen. I say that to say this: the Weaver Street Co-op market has been in existence almost 40 years. And the person that started Weaver Street did a Durham Co-op, which is older than Weaver Street is. Weaver Street has 4 different form factors, 4 different cities. There's one in Raleigh, one in Hillsborough, one in Carborough, and also one in Chapel Hill. One of those is in a mill, the other one's in an apartment complex, the other one is in a strip center. And they have their own food house. So there are different form factors, different sizes, serving different communities. One is also in a municipal building, ground floor. So they have a wealth of experience, and they are our partners in this. And so we've not determined that we're going to call this store Weaver Street or Weaver Street West. It could be a store, it could be West End, food market. We're going to co-op market. We'll see what the community says, because it's their market. What the atmosphere will be like, what products we will carry, whether it's hybrid or all organic, the community will decide. they'll finalize how much the rate's gonna be. So I say that to say this when you ask about a model. In the Southeast, no one's model to date has been able to measure up to what Weaver Street has set in place. And what they're doing with us, them at NCGs, the National Co-op Grocers, is we're working now to improve upon what currently exists. So we're leveling up. Why am I in this? I am not originally in the grocery business. 21 years operations veteran. I used to manage some towers downtown. The Hearst Tower, as a matter of fact, some floors in the tower. So I'm accustomed to operations, have enough knowledge to navigate different systems. And so that's why we are going to work with Weaver Street, National Co-op Grocers. We're working on shared services that we can share with our peers. We're working on a huge food supply network and also a production center for prepared goods. So it is not just a grocery store. I've mentioned the other elements, and there's also a community gathering space and a whole lot of other elements to make it very holistic. So more to come.
I want to quickly address your question about what does county support look like. So currently, from the public health lens, the county provides support in a variety of ways, including serving as technical advisors. So we may have staff who are supporting committees to advance some of the work of these different markets, if invited to be in those spaces. Again, we have a team of food security staff who are skilled within this space. We also, that might look like financial support for some of these initiatives. And, I see future opportunities when thinking about, once markets are operational. We have several partnerships, one in particular called Food is Prescription Foods Medicine Program, where we work largely with Food Lion to make sure that folks who might be within our healthcare system can receive prescriptions for healthy food options that are automatically loaded to their Food Lion card. So, from a programming standpoint, we are equipped and ready to expand those initiatives to connect with the co-ops and local markets that are currently underway to expand access to financial resources for folks to access these markets.
When it comes down to our business model with Carolina Farm Trust, our market is called CFT Market, and we're about community engagement, involvement, talking with people in the community, finding out what it is that they are looking for. We want to keep, the jobs. We want to open up and have those opportunities for employment within the community. But most importantly, like with the co-ops and partnerships within the county, we just want to make sure that we can expand, but most importantly, tackle these food insecurities. What are we lacking? What is it that we need to put in? And I know we all have, a structure in place designed as far as how the market will go. Our biggest thing is just making sure that when you do come in to shop, it is not just, a building where, okay, it's going to help those that are in need, but it's going to be comfortable. It's going to be inviting. It's going to, make you feel like as if, hey, this is made for me. Yes, it's, we have the stereotypes of it being on the west side or anything like that. No, we want to make sure that you're coming to get the foods that you need because of if you have diabetes or if you have the heart disease, any of those factors. We want to make sure that the produce is fresh. But most importantly, we want a partnership with all of the areas in the neighborhoods. So that's why when we chose Historic Hoskins, we were like, okay, this is in one of the biggest, food deserts there is. We want to make sure that we can tackle it. We want to make sure that people are going to have it. See, and since we've been there, we have created jobs for those in the community, and they are loving it. They're enjoying it. They're coming by and telling us that, hey, thank you for thinking of us. Thank you for being here. And we just want to replicate that model. We want to make sure that not just the historic, Hoskins, West Boulevard, all of the neighborhoods. It's like we need to band together so that that same energy flows through the city, through the county.
Thank you so much for all this incredible work. I wanted to circle back to the supply chain side of the operational questions and just ask about any concerns you may be hearing from farmers, or skepticism, or are they just waiting out there for you to get set up so they can come in and visit with you, or are you sensing any concerns from the farmer side of the story?
So the feedback that I get from farmers is, like when it comes down to moving produce, the seasonal vegetables that are in place. There are higher demands for certain things more than others. There may be a time where we could move more cabbage, and then there's times when we can't move it. We have run into that, and that's why we have to get out there and network partnerships and say, hey, this is what we have available. This farmer has so many poundage that we would like to move, whether it's squash or zucchini or things like that. I do cooking demos throughout the city with my chefs. I have an executive chef, and he is finding ways to be creative with his recipes. Like, okay, well, you know what? If we need to move this, let's be creative and move it this way, so that they can get excited to get this. But yeah, the weather, of course, the weather can beat up produce and certain type of produce. The heat has been really hard, like on strawberries and things like that. So, when we are pushing the produce, those are one of the biggest factors that we got to look at, between weather and the demand on what they want. But most importantly, I personally do not like to just give anything out there if it's bruised or anything like that. We want to make sure that it's harvested well. We want to make sure that it does not have those chemicals and things on it. So that's another factor that we deal with the farmers. We want to make sure you don't have all that pesticides and things like that, because that's going to make people sick. So we want to make sure that, their soil is good. We have an agricultural director that can go and check their soil to make sure that it falls within the guidelines for us to pick it, because we want people to be healthy. We want them to have a setback.
So what I wanted to add to that is what's special about co-ops is we accept what's called irregular produce, where regular conventional stores don't. And so we're providing an additional resource to those farmers that are out here dying because they can't find anywhere or any retail outlet to get their produce at. So that's something that's very special about co-ops, and I just want to mention that on the operations side.
One of the things about working with such a network as Weaver Street is that they definitely support local farmers. And what they desire to do with us is to be able to cross-pollinate between the two counties, so that goods may come from that may perhaps we don't have, may come from maybe the Triangle area, and likewise product will go back that way in the truck to go back to those areas, and not just raw product but also prepared product. And then also, as mentioned, we have chefs and we have food producers. So we can also rescue food and come up with a quality product that's prepared, be it canned or frozen or whatnot. And those can also be distributed. So they have a wide array of various products that are fresh. And people spend, as Mr. Faulkner said earlier, they spend a day when you have a community space. And they just kind of go in and out and dine, and so whatever, lawn or the mezzanine or whatever, the rooftop. Where they can consume those products or take those products home and maybe heat and serve or what have you, or just cook them, or maybe they're packaged and they can put them together a certain way. But with that said, the local farmers will not be left out because now they're gonna have a bigger network to get their products in. They can come directly locally into the store, but they can also now be used throughout the network and get into other markets.
Hello, everyone. My name is Leah Jones. I'm the Scholars and Families Manager with Freedom School Partners. A big piece of my role is getting to support scholars and families in our community as we do provide an educational programming, especially a summer program. With that being said, I was wanting to know more about different partnerships you guys plan to expand, or if you already have those established partnerships with educational or youth programming specifically to tackle major issues like childhood hunger, or even supporting, as I know Ms. Adams expanded more on, food waste, recovery. How could we support our scholars or children of the community that do suffer with childhood hunger?
So one of the programs of West Boulevard Neighborhood Coalition, and actually where Three Sisters is founded from, is called Seeds for Change. It's a community garden that's on the property now. And it service youth between 14 and 17 and teach them all the skills that you're referring to. How not to go hungry, because you're there, you're planting, you're harvesting, you're cultivating, you're doing all of those things. So it's lifetime skills that you get. They get paid, they stay off the streets. So that's one of the initiatives that West Boulevard Coalition has, to answer your question.
Yes, absolutely. When it comes down to childhood hunger, we definitely partner up with Charlotte Mecklenburg Schools. We are actually talking with them about a nutrition program where we can supply foods to certain schools and so forth. We'd like to do all of them, but I know we have to start at certain schools. And then also we do like a harvesting and day out program where they come to our community gardens. Urban Farm at Aldersgate is one of our gardens that we have that's actually off of Shamrock Road on Summerdale. And then we have another one that's in Huntersville called Free Spirit. So we, do an educational component, show them how to plant, grow, harvest, but we make it a fun thing. And then also we go and do like raised beds at certain schools as well, just so that they can understand the importance of, production with in agriculture. But definitely we are currently working with Charlotte Mecklenburg Schools, as well as Union County Schools for fresh foods in the school system.
On the county side, I just wanted to uplift that there is the Women, Infant, and Children's, or WIC program that's available to provide access to healthy food options for families. But also within our public health team, we have an initiative called Edible Landscapes that focuses on expanding access to those raised bed gardens, other fruit-bearing trees within communities, and we often work in partnership with youth serving agencies where the youth are involved in upkeeping those systems and sharing the harvest with their families, and that's under the leadership of one of our team members, Reggie Singleton.
And Spangler's Market currently offers WIC and SNAP at their current location in California, so we'll be bringing that same service offering to the Charlotte store.
Pre-operationally, relative to education, the Historic West End partners definitely will be working with JCSU Sustainability Village and carrying their product and also supporting their work. Also, the Mayor's Place, Mr. Reggie Singleton, any products that he may have, and of course he has a wonderful mentoring program, rites of passage, food production, and what is available from them. Of course, we would love to also participate and work with them. And then many of you may be aware of the Jazar family and Deep Roots, and so we definitely want to have a partnership with them when we're able to receive product. However, currently they had a camp this summer for you. So any youth that are interested in being a part of the business and learning the business will have that opportunity. And then of course, once the store is open, we're talking about 60 plus living wage jobs. So McDonald's will not be one's only choice should you choose not to go to on to higher education.
Before we go to Shay's question, I see Dr. Scott has a presentation that you want to go into it before we continue with questions.
Well, I don't have to. It's just support if there are questions that you need visuals for. So
okay.
So we can go with the questions, and if there's something that applies, I can pull it.
Okay, thank you.
Thanks everyone for being here. I think that was a great question about the youth, and that's really my question, in particular the county's plans to support efforts to engage youth in learning about food insecurity and building some type of guarantees for the future that we don't run into this problem again, because we've taken the opportunity to take advantage of the lessons here and impart in our children, their ability to avoid this in the future. Is there any specific effort that's youth focused and backed by the county that we can engage in to expand that model?
Sure. So we currently do not have a standing youth initiative outside of those investments that were mentioned. We are looking to expand this year to engage a youth advisory council that will tackle some of these issues. So if you have ideas or thoughts about how that might be structured, we would love to engage, to partner and think about what that collaboration looks like. So that's an area of growth for us. But again, we do continue to work with youth serving agencies to expand access to those edible orchards or urban gardens. And there are opportunities for agencies that have an interest in that space to collaborate with the county. One additional thing is that we also have a grants program for youth serving agencies that might be addressing food security. And it actually will launch later this month. So before we leave today, I'll share details about how to connect to that resource so that you can sign up for those mailing lists to be engaged. And if you have an idea that you want to pilot, that's a platform where resources are available through the county.
Good morning, my name is Jay Hill. Hey, Shaniqua, this question is specifically for you. Well, I'd like to hear from you and Rodney and anyone else that would like to give a response. All right, so my parents live on West Boulevard, Barrington Woods, right across from Stratford Y. And of course, everyone knows that there hasn't been a grocery store there for over 40 years. All right, but except Wayne's, right? It's been. All right, so right up East Boulevard, there's a Harris Teeter right there. Then there is a grocery store, of course, on South Tryon, South Boulevard, which is not far from Clinton Park and Barrington. And then there is a grocery store off of Freedom Drive, right across from, not far from Movement School, right? And so, what have you heard? Can you just keep it real? Like, what are you hearing from those grocery stores relative to their modeling when they're saying, hey, I'm sure they're looking at a radius of, and looking at how much food is being purchased by, folks in that radius. But everybody has to eat. Everybody's going to the grocery store somewhere. So I'm just wondering, like, what are you hearing relative to that and what the reasoning is?
Yeah, so that's what we're here for, is to provide that service. Traditional grocery stores, conventional grocery stores will not come into that area because of the reasons that you're stating. They're looking for average median household incomes. They're looking for sustainable revenue to continue on driving services within the store. But a co-op model is specifically for the community and for the neighborhood. So instead of looking at the financial responsibility of the business, we look at the community, we listen to the community, and listen to the community over the last 10 years, which West Boulevard has been, trying to get this initiative going, of what their needs were. And then we figured out a way on how to provide based on their needs. Regular conventional grocery stores do not do that. They look at the specifics and then they say yay or nay, period. They don't go into the community in question. They figure out their plan first and then we'll talk to the community. So we're doing this a different way, and that's what's taking so long. But as far as hearing, this community wants and needs a grocery store. So that's what I'm hearing out here, is that we need it. How can we get it there? And The reason we have all these folks up here is because it's such a wide area. It's so much space to cover. It's unfortunate that we're sitting up here and we're talking about it now, because that means those communities and those families haven't had any access to healthy foods for over 40 years. And that's the sad part of this whole situation. So yeah, that's what we're here for, is to provide that. Not thinking about profit, it will come, but thinking about how we can serve the community.
Yeah, and just to add, that was a great point, Janiqua. Grocery stores, the traditional ones look at specifics, like they're gonna look at, like you said, rooftops, median income, but they're also looking at traffic patterns, crime, and they're thinking about all this stuff. That if they go in these markets and they look at these other markets, if they have higher shrinkage, right? They're gonna be like, you know what, it's too much theft that's happening over there. They're looking at, again, the traffic counts. One of the things that I kept hearing when I was looking to do the traditional grocery store on the site we have right now was they didn't think we had enough traffic counts there. They kept coming up over, and I actually drove the market with Harris Teeter and Lidl, and so they were both worried about like the amount of density on Statesville, and so it was more truck traffic than it was pedestrian traffic, and so they get down in the weeds, and so you have to like look at that and understand where they're coming from. But then, like we were talking about before, those dollars are still going out of our community, and so that was my hard sell, trying to get them to understand that money's still in the neighborhoods. You have to try to figure out how to capture that. So I think a lot of that, if you can control other factors, right? The land costs, right? So we own the land that we're doing this deal with, so we're putting that into the deal, like, and so we are building the building, right? And so we are part of that process and understanding how to keep those costs at a certain dollar amount, so the grocery store can benefit from the low cost on all these other things. So a regular grocery store is just not going to think about that, and so you have to be intentional about trying to figure out other parts of the equation that you can control to keep costs down so that you can actually like make a living.
And to his point, that's what I was mentioning before with West Boulevard Neighborhood Coalition. They've taken on a brunt of this upfront payment and this upfront cost so that we can provide those services and so that we can be sustainable throughout the years, and we will continue to be here. We own the land that we're on too. We have a 99-year lease. So we own that land that we're on too. So there's a lot of things that are contributing to us being sustainable and being able to serve that community for years on end.
In our instance with the historic West End, the community will own the property will go in the trust. The community will own the grocery store, create its own board, have its own name. So that's also going to give it a element of sustainability. Then we're looking at other partners to help in other areas to ensure that we have the sustainability necessary to move forward.
Good morning, Dr. Blanche Penn. Quick question for the Department of Burke County. We do know Radio Singleton and things like that, but for seniors, how can we do a better job in getting that information out to us? Because sometimes if I don't really come here, I don't even know where I'm supposed to go. And the 211, 311, they don't really give us enough information. So for seniors, how can we do a better job in getting all this wonderful information that I'm hearing now?
Great question. So there is a senior nutrition program that's outside of public health that does have their own team that does outreach and engagement, but forums like this are important because we know we don't always reach everybody. So if you have ideas on ways that we can better connect and better engage community, we are here and willing and able to connect. We recently started a new communication campaign, so you might have seen some billboards advertising some of our SNAP services and other food and nutrition initiatives. We try to use all of the platforms that we have available. We try to engage community health workers who are within the community to make sure that they know about these resources available. But we know that sometimes that's not enough. You just have to be boots on the ground and connected. So any spaces that we need to be visible in, we welcome those opportunities so that we can make sure that those important resources and information are in the hands of those that need access to that information. And I'm happy to share my contact information after today so that we can stay connected.
I wanted to piggyback off of what you said with the senior nutrition program. Like I said, Carolina Farm Trust, we partner with the county for the senior nutrition program. And also we, our partnership with, I don't know if you're familiar with Centerwell or Archwell, Senior Care. So we definitely do produce drops with them. We also do cooking demos with them. So anything that's going on in the community engagement wise or that is for senior citizens, they can definitely let you know. We keep them abreast on anything that's going on with us, on how you can get produce. We're going to start going throughout the county, just doing pop-up markets as well. That's going to help seniors. But not just the seniors, but everybody. So, but that is one good way to keep up with the county, but also with like Centerwell, Archwell, or any of your community center hubs. They should be able to have those resources too.
There was one point that I failed to make in answering the gentleman's question, and it was around demographics, okay? When it comes to a commercial retailer, communities of color will not meet their demographics. The demographic goalposts will always move. If you don't own it, you don't run it, you don't control it. People depend on our historical behaviors of being consumers, so they know that food is a big part of the culture. We celebrate with food. When you pass, we dine. You know, when we're working, we stop to dine. Food is a part of the culture, just like music is a part of the culture. So they know you're gonna eat. And they're okay with you traveling 10, 15, 20 miles or to another town to eat, because you're gonna eat. You're gonna eat not just because of your health, but because it's a part of your culture, right? So it is imperative that we control that dynamic. And that's why a food cooperative. That's why ownership, and it's not extremely popular in the Southeast, but if you think about it versus the North or the Midwest even, or the West Coast, they've been liberated before we were, so we just kind of last to the party. But just because we're last to the party does not mean we can't move at warp speed and catch up. And that's what we're doing. If you own it and it's in your community where we let go of it back in the 60s and the 70s and talk us in the commercial stores and giving up our community stores. And then, you know, after you forfeit it, how do you get it back? After you give it away, how do you get it back? Goalpost is gonna change. So that's why we have to do that. They're counting on us not circulating our dollars in our own community, not supporting our own stores, even if it's just about 5 cents. It's 5 cents cheaper at Walmart. I'm gonna drive 10 extra miles to go to Walmart to save 5 cents. Instead of saying our own store is our store, it has what we want, it opens when we want, it closes when we want. You know, the atmosphere is what we want. It's the total experience that we want. And that's what Three Sisters and Historic West End are offering, to be the first ones to jump out there and help all the other quarters to get in the same place.
I'm Jan Balder and I live in Aldersgate, but my question was, at first, how do you get this word out? But you just answered that. I think one example, though, is the Federation of Southern Co-ops. That's a co-op that's been going for 50 years in Alabama. And it started out, you know, with not all trust. But my question to you is, how are you going to keep these employees? Because that's getting people to work is a problem all across the country now. So how are you going to keep a stable workforce?
Yeah, so I'll jump in here. So I've spent 25 years operating businesses, and what you're saying is absolutely true. More now than ever. It's very hard, especially in the grocery business. We have like a revolving door in our business, especially our daily and prepared foods department. You cannot keep anybody in those departments. And so what I've learned is you start establishing a culture of your business from gate. And you carry out that culture throughout your business in hopes that you bring a happy environment, in hopes that you bring fair pay, in hopes that you bring fair benefits into this business, because most likely these people spend more time in this business than they do at home. So we have to provide that culture within that store and within that atmosphere to be able to keep them. We have to listen to them. I have something that's called an open door policy. You can come talk to me whenever you want. Not necessarily about whatever you want, but you can come talk to me whenever you want. So putting things like that in place to make sure that they feel open and they feel invited and that they have somewhere secure. There's a lot of things that I do in my business. I pray, when we start during the day, we have huddles. If somebody wants to bring something to the table, then they're open to do that. But we take time in the morning to gather ourselves before we even start our day. So to your question, just providing that culture is the only way that we can. We can't make anybody do anything, but providing a culture that is activated and is relevant to what they're doing, I think is the best way to do that.
Everything that Janiqua said is absolutely correct. It is about a culture. Here's one of the things I've observed in my almost 6 years of observing and working with Weaver Street and going to all their stores and talking to all their managers and walking around talking to their employees. It is a culture. There are people who have been there over 20-something years. There are people that were actually college educated, but they love it. And they've grown in it and they've stayed in it and they can go anywhere. They have MBAs and they're staying in it. They love it. So it is about the experience, the wage, that's why it's a living wage job, about the benefits, but it's also about somebody being happy. So I've talked to some of the managers and they said, I've been in commercial retail grocery stores and they said that they would not trade what they currently have because they actually get to have a life. They're happy where they are. They enjoy what they're doing. The people that are working together, they have a passion for food, so it's not a job. Right? It's almost part of their lifestyle. And so that's why you want to attract the right talent. If it's just a job but you don't care about people, you don't care about food, you don't care about the product, you don't care about the experience, then you kind of going to put a drag on it. So you're always looking for the right talent. And this is where we have the opportunity educationally to groom talent. Introduce you early and let you see that you can have a great life in this industry.
Good morning. My apologies for being late. This is a fascinating topic, and I'm really happy that you all are in this space. My question is, I'm really concerned with GMOs. And so I'm curious from each one of you how you're going to manage that and really educating people on seeds versus genetically modified and what your resources and partnerships will be with that long term. Because you go to the store now, you can pick up an orange. You don't know if there's seeds in it or not unless they say it's seedless. Same thing with watermelon. So thank you.
Yeah, so hopefully Jashani will agree with me on this, but that's what the calls are. We focus on food sovereignty. We don't let anything come into our building unless we're inspecting it and know where it came from. What we want to provide you is healthy access. We don't want to keep repeating the disparities and health issues that are going on in our current communities. So everything that we get as a general manager, and I'll just tell you this, I am very particular about where I get my product. I'm very particular about what I put on my shelf. And even if I have to explain in our cooking, we'll have teaching classes in community rooms as well, even if I have to make the explanation of why your items are 25 cents or 50 cents higher than going to Walmart, I'll make that time to explain that. But everybody needs to know exactly what you're talking about. Those things are killing you. GMOs, GMO food, you eat them every day, and you don't even know what you're eating because you just go into the store and pick it up what's cheap or fast or convenient. And so that's what co-ops are for. That's what we're here for. That's our best practices. We do it every single day.
I totally agree, everything that you said, because education is key. So that's why it's so important when you're working with farmers, you find out exactly what they're doing, how they are planting in their fields and so forth. What is their crop schedule looks like? You know, where are they getting their supplies from? Because we do not want to, like I spoke about earlier, we don't want to give out anything that is false or incorrect out there that's going to harm people. I, for one, don't care for GMO. You know, I don't. And in our organization, we strive for that. We strive to be against that. Everything is all natural. So it starts from where it comes from. If you don't do the research or find out from where you're getting the product from, I mean, anybody can request anything. But if you know exactly where it's being produced, where it's coming from, and all the ingredients, then that's where you move more towards. You don't want to get anything that's going to be, like you said, you know, modified or tampered with and so forth. Even when it comes down to organic, a lot of people say, well, organic is the greatest thing. Organic is not always great. It isn't. I, for one, is scared of eating any vegetable or fruit that does not have a seed. I want to know how is it made, where's it coming from? So that's where our stand is on that.
I can't really speak to Spanglish, but I mean, from what I know about them, they have a heart for local farmers. So I don't know specifically about, you know, whether or not they have any GMO products in there, but I'm pretty sure that they don't. And once they get here, we definitely will make sure that that's, you know, in the forefront of their minds to make sure we're not putting products out there that are going to be harmful to the community. So I can guarantee that. I know that they have a heart to make sure people are going to be healthy and safe when they come in their store.
I grew up in the country, and we were talking earlier about food availability. And when we were growing up, you ate whatever was ready at that time. You were talking about cabbage, but you know, we ate what was available. My question has to do with collaboration and partnership among the four of you, and including 4-H. When someone was talking about students, we now have 4-H back in our county, and that was such a big deal when I was growing up when it came to you know, agriculture. So if you'll talk to that. But I also have a question for you, Dr. Scott. Can you talk a little bit about the new COVID variant and SNAP benefits, the additional benefits you get at food markets?
So I can't speak directly to the new COVID variant. I can pull some information and share that with you all after consulting with my team. I don't have a briefing today, so I apologize for not being prepared to talk about COVID today. But regarding SNAP, our team works directly with the farmers markets across the county to make sure that SNAP is accepted at the farmers markets. There's even a program called SNAP Double Bucks that's available where you can expand your access and collect up to $50 for produce at your visits to the market. So it immediately expands access to just resources to purchase fresh produce at our local farmers markets. There are some new programs also that are launching to support seniors with access to transportation to those farmers markets. So, you know, there was conversation earlier about, you know, how to get the word out. Again, would love to stay connected afterwards to make sure that everyone is connected and aware of these resources so that people can access the resources available at the markets. And I'll be sure to, if you have specific questions about COVID, I can't tell you specifically. We have seen some upticks, recently with COVID. Some of you may have experienced it within your own families. We've shifted a little bit towards wastewater surveillance since, people aren't testing as much. So we look at wastewater frequently to determine if there are upticks in COVID. And we've seen some rise, so continue to take precautions, as you navigate throughout your spaces to make sure that you're protected from COVID. And again, if you have other specific questions, I'm happy to engage our COVID team or even bring them back to this forum to talk about some of the developments that have happened over the recent months of COVID.
And I was just gonna say, Spangler's definitely is a community-focused grocery store. So when they move here, we're gonna look for opportunities to work with anybody we can on the panel and throughout the community, so we can make sure that we're hyper-focused on those partnerships. Because like they talked about before, having that buy-in from the community is super important. So when we have the opportunity to work with one another and it lends itself to be mutually beneficial, we'll definitely do that.
So as a cooperative, we live by some values and some principles, and one of our principles, along with care for the community, is cooperation among cooperatives. And so to answer your question, that's one of our values. That's what we do. That's what we're looking for. My apologies to those on the panel. I've been out busy, and so I haven't gotten the chance to, catch up, but we've exchanged numbers in order to try to figure some things out here. But I think if we're very intentional about our movement, and if we cooperate with each other, it will be more powerful than us just walking by ourselves. And so to that point, like you just said, when you get on board, let's exchange numbers, let's continue the conversations. Tanya and I are working on the same end, so I'm sure that we got a lot of things that we can do to better serve this neighborhood, but that's what we live by, so I look forward to it.
And I definitely agree. Exchanging numbers, emails, you name it. I mean, we're all about what's going to be best for the communities and the neighborhoods. So we definitely will be getting together, and making a difference in this city. So.
I have a question, and this is kind of off what we are focusing on when we're talking about food services, but we have these staples in our communities that have been there forever, like the Family Dollars and the Dollar Generals. And now I think American Delis are coming into the communities and our communities. And they're benefiting tremendously, from us servicing them. What have you all learned from how they have been able to, we're big consumers of the Walmarts and the Dollar Trees and the American Generals and the General Dollar Store. And I just want just someone to just share with us, what have you learned from that, and how can we make sure that when you bring these services to our community that we can have the same things going for our communities as they have over these years, and how we've enabled them to become multi-billionaires based on the money that we spend in those stores.
You struck a nerve. I was already there. That takes us back to mindset. For those of us who've been here a little while, to remember some things, it is my hope that we have learned some things about how these systems work and how they do not work for you, or at least to be able to look and see if it's working for you, right? Our mindset of ownership, if you even look at the land here in the city, where you could buy a lot for so much or buy a house for so much, and one time it was 9,000, 50,000, then it became 100,000, it crept up to 200,000, next thing you know it's $500,000. The same thing happens with everything else. People look at your patterns, they study your weaknesses. This is business. Business is about a bottom line. When people come into your community and open up something that's not healthy for you and we flock into it, can't wait to spend our money there, it's not about you, but you may say, well, if such and such, and I don't get sued. If blah, blah, blah wasn't here, because I know I said Walmart my whole life. If so-and-so wasn't here, then we wouldn't have nothing. That's the kind of, mindset we have sometimes. Well, if Family Dollar leave, we won't have nothing. If Walmart leave, we won't have nothing. Well, why do we have nothing? We had something. So when we step out to get you something again, we need your support. Stop giving people your money that will not invest back in you. And don't say we're in competition with one another, because we aren't. We get it, and we're working together. But why are you doing a co-op and they're doing a co-op? Why can't you? Every corridor that does not have a grocery store has a right to have a grocery store, because they people eat too, right? We shouldn't have to choose. Why is it an either or? Why isn't it and? You go to any of these other communities, you got 4 stores on the same corner. Everybody on the corner. And they depend on you to help keep it up, because as Mr. Parker said, the margins are thin. So we need to continue to build out our corridors, every need that we have. We need to be this mindset. And you have to determine certain ethnicities move into our community. They have certain stores that we frequent. I'm not gonna call any names, and they keep it in their community, and they send the money overseas to their family. Why don't we take care of us? It's okay for us to work together. So let's do it.
So I'm not gonna take a lot of time, because you struck a nerve with that too, and I'm getting on my soapbox about it. But what I want to say and what I want to mention is, if you travel, if you have traveled, if you're from somewhere else, those stores you mentioned are only in certain neighborhoods. Also accompanied with liquor stores and smoke shops. They're putting them in there for a reason, and we've fallen right into the trap. And so, to Janya's point, we gotta do better and think better about what to put into our communities and to support our communities with bringing forward these initiatives. Because that's why we're in here, because we can't gather together and support to bring these big initiatives to our communities. So you get these bigger companies that drop things in there to kill you, and to keep you going to the medical office. This is all a whole system that works together. And so they drop them into your neighborhoods to keep their system running. And so what we're doing is trying to combat those things, because this is systematic. All those things are done on purpose. They're put in these neighborhoods on purpose. This is all, I'm gonna stop because I'm gonna keep going. But it's done on purpose, that's all I'm gonna say. And we gotta stop falling for it.
And I want to piggyback off of what you said, the conditional mindset that we deal with in the community. And I see it all the time. Growing up, I've seen a lot of it. And we definitely gotta, I gotta get better with this. But definitely, you gotta pay close attention to the demographics. You gotta look at the patterns, what comes into the communities. Like what was mentioned, the smoke shops, the liquor stores and stuff like that. And we get tired of seeing that, because what happens when we go to the West Side? What's the West Side always known for? Or it's either a bad rap or something like that. We gotta change that. The West Side is not a bad rap. The East Side's not a bad rap. We are the ones that have to make the change. We are the ones that have to make the difference. We have to fight against the system. So in order for us to do that, we gotta break all those chains that we've grown up to know about. You know, if we wanna do better, we gotta think better, we gotta see better, we gotta see the vision in front of us. So, that's what I mean.
You heard the word membership about a co-op. Probably of all the co-ops that I know of, probably the most expensive membership that I've heard of is $200. And I won't call it expensive, but that's the highest number. These systems can depend on us to buy sneakers. You a sneakerhead, you know. Why we gotta buy a co-op membership? It's one time, somewhere between $100 and $200, but you didn't hesitate to get a lace front. You didn't hesitate to get your nails done. You didn't hesitate to get your kid a pair of sneakers and they do not have a job. And then act like we've done something wrong by saying, in order to sustain this, we gotta have ownership. And this is what the ownership looked like. Back in the day, your grandmama, your granddaddy were charter members of the church. They bought the brick, they helped get the land. Somebody bought a pew. Somebody bought the pulpit, right?
There you go.
The grave site. Everybody had a piece of an investment in it. And probably the one thing that we still have left probably is the church. Whether you still going or not, it's there. And this is the same thing. It will still be there if you will make the one-time investment and if you will shop there. So it's okay. I'm not saying it's bad to go and do things that make you happy, make you comfortable. Because I said this at a co-op conference and a lady said to me, but that's what makes people happy sometimes, to be able to treat themselves to something. So I'm not saying don't treat yourself, but understand that there's business, there's investments and things that we have to do. These families that own these restaurants in our community where we got a line hanging out the door to go eat breakfast, and there's like 3 of them, and we got a line hanging out the door to all of them, that money is still within their culture and within their community. Your favorite Asian spot, your favorite everything is still there. So we can do the same thing here. It's all mindset. So please support.
All right, with that said, we're going to close it out. Please allow. Well, yes, round of applause. Also, with the co-op model, you can buy lace fronts at the grocery store. How about that? Because you vote on it. But did just right there some lettuce. All right, so everybody, please tell the people how they can get it quickly, because we got to get out of this room. If you have announcements, please send them to Steve at sjohnson@tuesdayforumcharlotte.org. But please let the people know how they can get in contact with you quickly as you can.
For the Historic West End Partners, go to hwep.org, hwep.org.
I'm gonna give you 2 for West Boulevard. It's westblvdnc.org. For Three Sisters Market is /Three Sisters Market. But I'll give you my email address. It's Janiqua, J-A-N like Nancy, I-Q-U-A at westblvdnc.org.
All right, Tony Eskridge here, Carolina Farm Trust. So you can go to www.carolinafarmtrust.org. My email address is tony@carolinafarmtrust.org. So it's Tony with the I, not with the Y.
Rodney Faulkner, Boundary Street Advisors. Our website is www.boundarystreetadvisors.com. And the best email is going to be hello@boundarystreetadvisors.com.
And Kimberly Scott with Mecklenburg County Public Health. The county website is mecnc.gov. And it's easiest to reach me by email at Kimberly, KIMBERLY .Scott, SCOTT, the number 2 at MECK.NC.gov. I know that was a mouthful, but I will make sure to disseminate information for those in the room so that you have access.
All right, thank you, ladies and gentlemen, for joining us for another Tuesday morning forum. With that said, we have another important guest next week, and they are incredible. Come back out. Dr. Thomas, please play us out.